35,000 for a 6800 XT. Hey everyone, this is Robert with another video. This is just a really kind of small video about the graphics cards and the shortage and the costs, and yeah, this is just one of those, so enjoy. 15,000 for a 1080, 16 gig of RAM, Ryzen 3. Oosh, that's tough. 500 gig hard drive, 550. Yeah. 35,000 for a 6800 XT. 35,000. 35,000. What the fuck? Okay. So, I mean, I've been browsing around on Blocket, which is like the version of Craigslist, I would guess. It's kind of like Craigslist. It's got a bit of a reputation for sometimes higher costs for stuff, but basically I'm looking at this article here. 35,000 Swedish crown, which is about $4,000. $4,000 for this build here. And this build, it's really starting to get kind of nuts. Like when I browse around on Blocket, or if you go to Craigslist, or if you go to eBay, because of the GPU shortages, it's kind of gone into other areas now. So now you start to get these extra costs coming in for other components. It's getting really tiring to see. I mean, I've ordered some cards in recently. It's going to take me forever to get them. But this is just, I mean, this computer here, it looks pretty good, generally speaking. I mean, I'm not really a fan of the red. I don't really care about the case that much. I mean, it's kind of ugly, but I mean, spec-wise, that's what we're looking at here. Just looking at the specs here. Okay, so I've gone through the specs here. I've gone through the motherboard, the processor, the graphics card, and the cooler, and the case, and the power supply, and the RAM, and the storage. For those of you who can't read Swedish, what this says is, hello, I'm selling this new build computer for gaming computer, and it all works super good and you can play basically anything. The specs are listed here, and it says here that it's the last price, that there's no negotiating on this price. So I've tallied up the pricing here, and what I've done is I've basically gone around on Price Runner and a couple other websites to look at the price of these components new, because it's not actually often to find them even secondhand, but we've looked new. And the ballpark figure that I got for new components for this build was this, 28,200, which is about 3,000 Swedish crowns. $3,000, so 28,000 Swedish crown. And that means that there's an add-on to this build of 7,000 Swedish crown, which is coming close to $1,000 extra on top for this build. And it's just such a huge margin to add on. And remember that this is second-hand, not new. So if you were to look on the second-hand market, I've seen some of the components and I've got it down to 25,000 and 26,000 crown. So it's an extra $200 to $300 less. And this is not by far the worst article I've seen on Blocket, but it's certainly one that stuck out when I was looking through. As you saw in the intro, I saw a couple of others that were less cost for less components. But this build is also particularly strange. I mean, the motherboard is pretty decent. I mean, it's a ROG Strix, it's a B series motherboard. It's probably one of the few B series motherboards that are actually pretty decent. The ROG Strix line of motherboards is pretty good. They've put in a Ryzen 9 5900X, really good processor. 6800 XT, really good. I'm not sure about the specific like brand of this. I probably would have picked something else, but it's okay. XFX is pretty decent. And then they've also put in a platinum power supply. I do appreciate that. And they put in 32 gig of RAM. They've said it's a gaming computer. Don't need 32 gig of RAM in a gaming computer. They haven't said anything about streaming. They haven't said anything about video editing. And you could do some pretty good video editing with this, but I mean, you could just put 16 gig of RAM in there. It would be fine. One storage device, NVMe. It's a really good storage device. The WD Blacks are really good. But, I mean, hard disks are super cheap. You can buy them for, like, almost next to nothing for 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 4 terabytes even. You can even get SSDs. I mean, right now in Sweden, the SSDs and NVMEs are basically the same price. But still, it's asking for 7,000, or if you get some second-hand components, you're talking maybe 10,000 crowns, like $1,000 more than the cost of the components new. And it's just like, oh my god, like this market is so screwed. The advice for this guy, I mean, just refigure the cost here. I hate that people sell components for way more than they should cost, so that really bugs me. It's kind of making the market worse, if anything. Not just scalpers, not just the Bitcoin miners and crypto miners, but also people who know that there's a huge shortage, so they sell components for way above MSRP. And I mean, I recently sold about 2 or 3 months ago a 5700 XT. It was the blower edition. It was the one that originally came out. It was kind of noisy, but I sold that for a bit less than MSRP. I would say about 15 to 20% less than MSRP. I'd had it for less than about 6 months, so it was pretty new, but I sold it for less than MSRP, and these things are selling for more than MSRP. The graphics card alone, I mean, it doesn't swallow up the extra almost $1,000 you would pay for this type of thing. So yeah, I mean, this is just a little rant, if anything, because this is so bad. $1,000 for, I guess, convenience. But you have to go and pick it up probably. I don't think someone would ship this because yeah, I don't think I would. And also, one of the things that really bugs me, which is just really just the worst, this is like the worst, I know what they're trying to say here. This sentence here, what this says is impossible to build such a computer at present. They know that you cannot get hold of this stuff really easily. So because of that, they are selling it higher. They know this. This is a really dick move, basically. This puts them in the same category as scalpers, overshop, miners who overshop too many cards. This is that for me. This is the same when they know they're selling it. Like I said, I have sold graphics cards earlier less than MSRP because I cannot justifiably sell something for more than I paid for it when it is hardware, when it's computer components, electronics. That's really nuts. I don't think it should work that way. I think you've got to push it really hard just to sell it at the same cost. But I mean, like I said, I sold my graphics card within the space of 6 months to a year for about 15-20% MSRP less. So I mean, that's still pretty good for me, but also a good deal for the people buying it. This is 1,000. Actually, in rough percentages, it's about 25% higher cost than the actual parts cost new. But yeah, so I've seen some videos of some of the stuff in Craigslist from some other channels talking about some crazy deals, and I was looking through on Blocket and I saw this and I was just like, oh my god, this is just $1,000. Even this is a good build, but even if you put this down to 25,000 crowns, which is about $3,000, it's a pretty expensive build, but it's not bad. There's a few changes I would make to it, but yeah, just a little rant. I just wanted to show you guys that some people are selling these at crazy prices, and hopefully no one buys them at these prices, because this is stupid. And let's see, hopefully, if it gets better. But anyway, this has just been a little rant video about the crazy graphics card prices, and I'll have some new content out soon, so see you around.